And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Before we do get into today's video, as always, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. I hope you guys are all well. We've got a lot to go through in today's video. We're going to cover all the latest Celtic news from the last 24 hours as always. Now, before I do get into the main story, which is with regards to one incoming and one outgoing player at the club, which is quite an interesting transfer story. I want to discuss the game yesterday, of course, because Celtic played their first match of the SPFL season yesterday evening, and we beat Kilmarnock 4-0. Now, there's a lot of things to discuss, a lot of individual performances that really stood out in that match, but there's one in particular I want to mention, just because it came somewhat of a surprise, because this guy now, looking at him, could be a very integral player for us this season. But before I talk about him, let's go over Kasper Schmeichel, of course. A very standard, a very easy game for him, I suppose. His first game of his Celtic career, first professional game of his Celtic career, kept a clean sheet. Looked really, really solid. I thought defensively we were really, really good. Of course, keeping a clean sheet on his debut, he would absolutely love that. And he seemed pretty happy with his overall performance and his debut. He said he was absolutely surprising, and the game actually exceeded his expectations of what he had when he came to Celtic, which is always nice to hear from a player, of course, coming to the club. I guess the fans and the actual sheer size of the club always surprises a lot of players when they do come up to Glasgow to play for Celtic. Now, the player I want to discuss in particular is Nicholas Kuhn, because I thought this guy was absolutely superb last night. This guy, of course, well, we'll talk about him. That position, his position in particular, the right-hand side of the midfield, the right wing. That's an area in the pitch that's been identified as needing improvement this transfer window, and I still agree with that. I think, of course, we are pretty light in that area. I mean, in terms of the quality in that area, overall isn't the best. We could do with more quality. Of course, Balakawisha from Antwerp was linked to us in that position. But looking at Nicholas Kuhn last night, he looked superb. He was really, really good, so direct, making things happen from that right-hand side of the pitch. Of course, got a goal as well, and I thought he was absolutely superb. I think for me, probably my man of the match, just how direct he was with the ball, trying to create chances, trying to make things happen. He could have scored 2 goals as well. One went over the bar in the first half after the first goal went in. But yeah, overall, a really, really good game from him. And I think if he can kind of keep that consistently up throughout the season, he could be, a guaranteed starter in the side. It's just a matter of fact, can he do it consistently? We've seen glimpses of last season that he has this in his locker to perform like that, but can he do it on a consistent basis is, of course, the next thing we need to discuss. I still would improve that area on the pitch. I don't think one game against Kilmarnock is enough to convince me that he's going to be the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread, but yeah, I think that performance yesterday is held at he's put himself at a high level now. He needs to match that every week now. He needs to consistently perform like that every week. Then he could be a really, really good player for us, of course. Still quite young, so he's got a lot of time to improve. And I think under Rodgers' guidance in this team, in this setup, he could be a really, really pivotal and really crucial player for us. So looking forward to seeing what Nicholas Kuhn can achieve this season. I thought he was really, really good. And for me, he's my man of the match in that game. There was a lot of good individual performances, of course. Atate, O'Reilly, again, was really good getting an assist. Thought Kyogo was decent as well, even though he didn't get on the score sheet. Scales looked good as well, got a goal, could have got 2. So yeah, crazy good performance overall from the team. Very, very happy, of course, kicking on as we finished the last season. Now we are 2 points ahead of Rangers already and top of the table. So very, very good, very happy with the performance overall. Now let's get into the transfer news of today. So there's 2 stories that I want to discuss. We'll start with Owen Beck because there's been another development in this transfer saga. This is the transfer coming in. Of course, we need a left back. We know that. Greg Taylor's our only first team left back in the squad. And Owen Beck's been linked to the club for some time, since January last season in the transfer window. After his Dundee loan was cut short, he went back to Liverpool, played a game, then he went back on loan to Dundee again. So this guy's been linked to us throughout this transfer window again. And now it appears that there's 2 more teams interested also, which could create a bit of a bidding war for him. So those teams are QPR, which we previously mentioned before. That's not a surprise. And then the other one is Birmingham City now. So Birmingham City also wants Owen Beck as well at left back. It's worth mentioning as well, Celtic want a permanent transfer for Beck, whereas QPR are pushing more towards a loan deal for him. It's quite an interesting one because QPR have interest in getting a loan deal done as well, but they've already signed a few players in a similar position. They signed Lee Buchanan, and they've also signed Alex Cochran as well that can play those areas in the pitch already this transfer window. So it's quite interesting they still have interest in another left back, but that's kind of the development with that transfer story now, that there's a lot of teams interested in him, and if Celtic do want him, we have to push on to try and get this deal done as soon as possible, because I'm sure Liverpool will be open to loaning him out at some point, possibly to the Championship, and getting some good experience there. Now, the transfer story with regards to a player going out is again with that man, Matt O'Reilly. This guy's been linked to every team in every different league across Europe. Absolutely crazy. Now, one of the European big guns are coming for him. And of course, he's been linked to the Premier League a lot this season, to Southampton. Brighton have shown interest. Leicester City have shown interest. And now Chelsea have joined the race to sign Celtic star Matt O'Reilly. So this is a big, big club, Chelsea, of course. Part of the Big Six in the Premier League, and it's believed to be because they are now currently in the process of selling their midfielder Conor Gallagher to Atletico Madrid. They identified Matt O'Reilly as his replacement. Now, personally, I don't see the logic behind selling a academy graduate for profit. Of course, I know it's for FFP, and then signing someone else. It just seems a bit bizarre to me. I think you'd rather keep hold of a player that loves the club. He's a Chelsea fan, of course, Gallagher, rather than selling him and signing someone that's not a Chelsea fan, Matt O'Reilly. But, of course, Matt O'Reilly is a very good player, and now Chelsea have identified him as Conor Gallagher's replacement. So they will get £34 million for Gallagher, which is enough to then sign Matt O'Reilly for Celtic's asking price, which is £25 million. So hopefully they do match that if they do want to get him. But it says that they're going to try and push for £20 million for O'Reilly. Again, Celtic need to hold firm in their stance and not letting them go for anything below their asking price again, which is £25 million. But of course, there's a lot of teams interested in him. As I mentioned, Southampton, Leicester, Brighton, AC Milan, Atletico Madrid, probably not anymore because of Gallagher, Atalanta, Juventus, a lot of different teams throughout Europe really, really want Matt O'Reilly, and now Chelsea have joined the race for him, and they will try and push for a deal if the Gallagher one does go through, which it looks like it will in the next few hours, really, the next few days. It's almost a here we go by Fabrizio Romano. So yeah, a lot of moving parts in this transfer story, but of course it's worth mentioning that now Chelsea are after him as well. And this one might be hard to push back for Celtic, of course, because if they do come in for a bid for him, it's under the valuation. It might rock the boat a little bit. Of course, Matt O'Reilly's been nothing but professional so far throughout this whole transfer ordeal. And I think this one might be able to rock the boat a little bit just because of who it is and the money that you might get when he goes to Chelsea. But again, he's such a professional, so see what happens here. He had a good game yesterday as well, and he looks so focused on Celtic right now, which you have to respect and appreciate. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on yesterday's game as a whole. Also, let me know your thoughts on what we've discussed with regards to the transfer news. And if you haven't yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and make sure you are subscribed to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.